Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Turn Right Machine Works. My name is Keith, and we're in here. We're excited. We're ready to open up a package that's basically 3 business days later than it was supposed to be sent here. What's in here? We're going to take a look at that in a second. It is a replacement, brand new 4-jaw chuck for my Clausing Lathe here. But there's a little story on to how this chuck got here. And I was contacted through my Facebook. One of my viewer friends there, Robert Zusha. He lives out in Nevada. And he pointed me to an ad in Craigslist on this 16-inch 4-jaw chuck. And the reason why he did that is because he knows that I hardly use this 4-jaw chuck that I have down here because the jaws themselves aren't the right jaws for the ways of the chuck itself. So they bell mouth out like this. So if you know, you got skill in 4-jaw dialing in as it is, but when you handicap yourself right off the bat, because when you go to tighten down something, it's going to shift the face out. And when you're dialing something in 4-jaw, you're dialing peripheral, but you're trying to hold face as well. And with a chuck like that, you end up fighting yourself, and it becomes aggravating. And that's why you don't really see me use this 4-jaw. When I do have to do it, but I don't want to go through all the the nonsense to make this thing work. This was given with this lathe when I bought it, and I put up with it for long enough. And anyway, Robert knew that, and he pointed it out to me. So I looked at the Craigslist ad, and beautiful chuck, and I know I can make it work. It's a 1/4 inch smaller than this, which is right in the ballpark what I need for this lathe. It does have a larger hole in the center, and it does have T-nut slots. Now I'm getting ready to open this up here, but this was sent off the beginning of last week, and the seller didn't want to do the shipping and boxing and everything else, and Robert offered to go ahead and build the wooden box here and handle getting it shipped to me. I went ahead and I pre-made, once he figured this out and he drew out the dimensions and everything else, I made the label through my UPS services here and emailed them so that he could just copy, print them, and then attach them, and then it'd be on its way, and it's all set, so it wouldn't be any dime out of his pocket. And I asked him what he wanted for doing all of this, and he said, "Shoot, you've already paid me with the videos," and I really truly appreciate that. So what I did was I threw, the gentleman on Craigslist. First off, he thought it was a fraud that Keith Fenner would be calling him and wanting to talk to him and buy this chuck all the way from Cape Cod, Massachusetts. And so once I got on the phone with him and was making arrangements to go ahead and pay him and everything else, he cut me a $50 price cut off of the chuck, and I appreciate that very much also. So what it ended up is Robert's going to go ahead, he boxed it up and shipped it to me, and I prepaid, and Robert went over to gentleman's house and picked up the chuck, and during the week, during his time, he went ahead and built the crate. When he was ready, I sent it out, and I believe it left the Monday before last, and it was scheduled to get there on Friday, which I would have been in South Carolina if it wasn't for Hurricane Matthew. And speaking about hurricanes and traveling and having non-refundable flights and tickets, here's a note. Non-refundable tickets, you're allowed to make one change within I think they give you 7 days or whatever. It's a very short time to change your mind on a flight, to reschedule for a wedding and that. So the only true way to get your money back without having to pay for your airfare that you couldn't go because the wedding got canceled, the hurricane came, you couldn't fly, is to go ahead and take your 1 day option there and schedule your flights on the day of the hurricane. They automatically get canceled, and then they have to refund you your money. Then you get your money back. It takes you a little while on the telephone and everything else, but you don't have to suffer with the $1,200 fine for a $1,400 set of tickets. Just a little note there, just in case you didn't know that. Most of you that fly around, you probably already know the little ins and outs on that, but that's how you can get out of a airfare if you can't make your flight and there happens to be a hurricane or a natural disaster that causes the airport to close down. So I had people here waiting for this on Friday, which it didn't show up, and then I checked the tracking, and after it was picked up, Robert dropped it off, and then it was picked up at that location and UPS, and then there was 0 acknowledgement in tracking. So I went ahead and I said, well, hey, we'll give them 1 day, right? Friday, Monday, it'll be here. I was here waiting for it anyway, and so cutting the story a little short here on the story. Yesterday I kind of called and put an investigative on my package there. Where is it at? and then today I'm out at the chicken coop. I was just walking back and I see the UPS truck backing into my driveway, and I ran out there. I kind of knew it was here. Well, okay, so I shot Robert a text picture of it, okay, and Robert didn't put this tape on here at all. This duct tape here on the side and this tape over here and everything else. So there's less than quality wrappers in here as well, but it looks like they possibly did drop it. But I see a couple screws that are missing, but almost every one of them is in there. There's a little bit of jarring on the box here, and there's some tape on here, and also you can see that he also put my address and his address on the box with Sharpie. So even if the tag came off of there, but evidently there was a loss of tag because they made out a new tag, and I actually got this one from Overgoods, UPS Overgoods in Secaucus, New Jersey. Okay, so this thing went from Nevada to New Jersey. I don't know if it stopped by Colorado, if you know what I mean, but it did. It went all the way to there, and so I'm gonna go ahead and put this off to the side here, just to have something on the story there. And we're gonna lay this down, and we're gonna actually see everything's in here and if everything is solid, and this will be the start of actually going through and getting a new 4-jaw chuck for this lathe, and then we're going to be removing the backing plate from there, and we're going to be modifying the backing plate so that the new chuck will fit on this lathe, and we'll go through the steps of that, and then I'll have a brand new 4-jaw chuck on this lathe. And I still have my hopes that Robert did a beautiful job doing this, and even if they did drop it, I would believe that there wouldn't be any damage. We just want to make sure that it didn't hopefully he didn't lose any of the jaws or pieces, because what he did is he made another chamber at this end. The chuck is down in here. The jaws will be up in here, and the bolts here for the backing plate should be in there also. I got my screw gun. Let's go ahead and let's lay this down, and we'll zoom you in on it. Now I know that this top has got to come off first, so we'll cut through this phony tape job that they did on here. And we'll pull out all the screws here. I think the ones that are missing here were just jarred. They might have broke the head off, like that one. I checked that one already. Those two are missing. That one's loose. See, that one's wicked bent, so it probably got jarred. All right. There we go. Woohoo! That is a beauty. That's a beauty. It was purchased and it was never used. Nice. All right, he put the bolts in here. It has an eye here for lifting it up. All right, he took the jaws out so we can make the box smaller and everything, and they're locked in these little chambers right here. And he circled these screws right here on the end. He explained, you know, when you can communicate with each other, digital messages are just really nice. Texting pictures and really makes life nice. Yeah, the box had to have some kind of a jostle in it because some of these screws are a little bit twisted, bent over. Okay, and pull these out and then it'll go. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I think, is I'm going to go ahead and lift this up. I like how I put these handles in here as well. I'm going to slide this out. Nice. Chuck wrench. Okay. Oh. Yeah, that's old man grunt. Still can't wait to get my left foot surgery. All right, nice. Okay, there's a jaw. Isn't that nice to look at virgin surfaces haven't been worn in yet? There was no marking on there, but I asked him to go ahead and pull the jaws out, but mark them with Sharpie, and he did that. Okay, really nice. Nice job, Robert. I mean, if you didn't make this thing as sturdy as it was, I bet you we would have had some lost parts. And you had everything locked in there really nice. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get the eye bolt in there and get the chuck lifted up here and screw the jaws in there. I want to get a good look at it, kind of up by the lathe there. And we'll take a look at that back area there. This is going to be nice. That hole in that four jaw is like 4 something. So I'm going to have a bigger hole in the center of the chuck, even though my spindle is only 3 inches. Sometimes just having that larger bore. All right, let me move things around so I can talk while you actually got something in the camera. I went ahead and screwed the jaws in here. These are nice and tight jaws, and they do screw nice and easy. I do have to say they gave you A-bomb size chuck wrench. I'm just saying. Anyway, everything went together real nice. The chuck did not receive any damage through its shipping. It all went together nice, and I don't see any blems or anything else on it here that I wouldn't expect to see. The overall width of this chuck here, or diameter, was 16, and this one here is 15 3/4, which it's fine. It's 17 is my diameter I can swing over the ways, and then in the gap I can go larger, so there's no problem standing out the jaws past here. One thing that's nice about this, you can see right away T-nut slots in on this chuck here, which I miss severely with this one here. There's lots of times where you might only want 2 of those jaws, or you might only want 3 of those jaws, and you need to toe clamp another area. Sometimes that actually comes into play. Sometimes you want to go ahead and you want to take all of your jaws off and use it as a faceplate and use the T-nut slots as your hold downs. So there's a lot of advantages to having T-nut slots in your 4-jaw chuck. So I now have them. Here's the other advantage to this. When I couldn't believe it, because it actually has a 4 3/4 inch hole in the center, which comes in super handy of being able to put something in a little bit when you're grabbing large diameters. If you get that where you're only holding the length of that jaw and you're hanging out a foot, you're just not as rigid. If you can get that thing choked up in there, even if it's 3 inches, and you're only out here 6 inches instead of 9 inches, you're gonna be able to do your shit out there much better. Yeah, you know, really hog on some stuff there. Whereas this hole here wasn't much bigger than the hole in my headstock through the spindle, and but you can, I mean, these jaws just really did rock, and they were severely worn in there. It's just, all in all, a much better thing. I do have to say that the scare of this being lost and not making it here, if I was to send this again, I would put $3,000 worth of insurance on it, because if it didn't, I mean, it's a great deal and I got it at a great deal, but if it didn't get here, then I would I already made up my mind I want to put a new 4-jaw in here, so I would have ordered one out of MSC or whatever, and I would have spent every bit of that money on that's what these bad boys run brand new, and this is brand new condition. This has never been on a lathe before. All right, now let's take a look at the backside. The backside, of course, it's got the 4 big bolts in here and a nice register here, and this nice clean surface right here. This has never been on anything. This is still a nice surface. I don't see any major dings or whoops or anything else in there that I have to clean out. Of course, I will stone it and things like that, because it's just never seen any contact yet. Now this, I actually ordered this blank and did the machine work and mounted this chuck on here, and I'll be able to pull these screws out, put this back on the lathe, and I will do whatever it takes to modify that into this surface right here, turn this OD down to where it comes in comfortable with this minor area here where the cavities are, and then tap it out for the 4 holes, and then run the bolts in from the other side. So that's kind of the plan that we're going to go with, and I'm going to go ahead and take you through the process of what I'm going to do to change this chuck out, and we're going to be doing this within the next day or so, because I do have several 4-jaw projects. And also it's going to start off, and it's going to lead me to where I'll leave this in for a while, and we'll take apart the 3-jaw chuck, completely go through the inside of the scroll and everything, clean it all out, put it back together, and set up a tool post grinder, and we're going to grind the 3-jaw true. So I'm gonna square away the 2 chucks for this lathe. Now you're going to say, hey, what happened to the Rutland? Well, I am working on the Rutland lathe as well, and it's coming along as well. I just ordered some material for mounting the shooting star readouts, and we started drilling and tapping on that. But I had some other marine work come in, local work, and I've been on that as well. And I also had my trip planned, and then the hurricane happened, and then the storm came up here, and I'm outside and I'm working wood, and I'm doing a lot of other things just to keep up. I'm setting up, and I'm doing another What's in Your Box Toolbox giveaway video. So all of these are coming up here this week. All right. Well, I'm super excited. And Robert, pretty close chuck size and everything else. Good job on the I Spy, and you know what? Hey, we got it here, and that's all that counts. Robert was a little more worried than I was when it didn't show up here on Friday when it originally said it was going to come, and you know, well, see. He knew how well he built the box, and he showed me pictures of it, and I knew how well he bought the box. How do you lose a 150-pound item that's going from point A to point B? So evidently it did change course and went down to New Jersey. And in the long realm, coming across the states, New Jersey is just a little dip, but I wouldn't think New Jersey would be like a center hub of where things go, but I don't know how UPS operates. So all I know is they did find the package, they put on a new label, and they got it here. And they put a little bit of tape on the outside of the box, and none of the components got lost, and all ends well. So you know, it was meant to be. Kid are done.